Hello everyone. I wanted to try and be a little bit more consistent and come out and show you the garden during the day as we're getting closer to spring, even though today it is 35 degrees and windy, so I hope the wind doesn't pick up too much. I just wanted to show you the state of things as they are right now. I've got these arborvitaes here that kind of trim out the front, but you know what, guys? I might plant them in the garden this year. They've been in these containers for a few years now. They are starting to struggle a bit, and I'm seeing some interior, even though that is normal, these shed a little bit, but I'm seeing some interior browning that looks a little excessive, but we'll see. Once it warms up a little bit, I will trim those and see how they look. I do have these on drip, so they do get good water when it's not now. They get good water in the summertime, but these pots, I don't know, I think that they're a little constricted in there. Anyway, let's take a walk inside the back garden and I'll talk to you about some things that are going on. Firstly, here are the boxwoods, the sprinters. In the daytime, look how huge they got, you guys. They are almost touching at this point, and they're just looking terrific. It's amazing that they started out, you know, as little tiny sprigs just a couple years ago. You can see some daffodils here. These are daffodils from when I first moved in. They used to go all up the driveway when this was a driveway. And there's a little clump still there. Oh, and guys, you know, I had a couple people concerned about putting the branches from my ornamental plum. I really kind of misspoke in that video. I kept saying diseased. It wasn't really diseased. It was just straight up dead. The scale, they don't really, this particular variety of scale, there's many types of scale. This particular one that infested on my tree, they don't really, they don't hatch and start their cycle until June. And all of the branches that I clipped were healthy branches with no signs of the scale on it. There was nothing on them. So I'm not worried about it. And these will be out by the time any of that should happen. And I'll just dispose of them properly. But it's no worry. It's really no worry. It's very cold today. Anyway, one of the things that I'm working on right now is taking the canes of my rose, as I spoke about in my last video, and trying to train them along the wall here. But here's some real life moment. Look what I just noticed. So I'm trying these new clips here that are siding clips, but look, they're just dangling here. So clearly this is not the way. These siding clips are supposed to, like right here, I'll show you. They kind of go under your siding. I think if you had something less thick and woody, like a clematis, this would be a great option. I got these on Amazon, and then I'm just using that heavy gauge fishing line that I love to use all over the garden. But right here, I think the rose cane is just too strong and it pulled these out. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put screws in here. I don't mind taking chances and doing things like that because I just know that I want the rose here. And if I put holes in the siding, then I put holes in the siding. If it's gonna secure it and give it the structure that I want, then I don't mind doing things like that. There's screws holding in the white trellis here. There's screws holding in the window box. So, you know, I'll try and be sparing with it and just make some long runs with the fishing line. And the fishing line, and you can see the clips are kind of working here, but I did already have to pop those in once again. So that tells me that these are not the answer. But you can kind of see the direction that I'm going in. And I would just love to have this whole side of the house covered with these beautiful Benjamin Britten roses. I see some of the daffodils in this pot popping up, but that's really exciting too. In this area, if you'll remember, I planted quite a few bobo hydrangeas last year, and they just look so pretty. I really liked it. It was the first time. I know I'm late to the garden party on that one with the bobos. I've got some alliums in here. You can kind of still see their seed heads. I leave all these things up for the birds and for the wildlife over winter, and I do most of the clipping and cleanup late winter, early spring. Let's see here. What else good do we have? I've got the roses. These are Rise Up Lilac Days, I think it's called. Let me take a look at the tag. I did leave the tag on this one. This was a newer one from Proven Winners last year. Rise Up Lilac Days. And it has just the most sweet little petite lavender roses on it. Really pretty. Last year on these, I let my morning glories really take over. Some years I let the morning glories go because I miss them and I want to see them. And some years I just pull out all the seedlings because you know that they do drop their seeds. And if you don't pull them out, you'll have them for the rest of your life. I love them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So I'm not going to plant them on these this year. I'm not going to let them go and just run wild because it really swallowed up the entire obelisk, and I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll plant my sweet peas on this that I have growing in the basement right now. Maybe I'll take you down there real quick and show you my sweet peas, what they look like at the moment. But I'll plant those on there. And I've got the rose. Maybe I'll even plant like a little clematis and just have it be a little bit more delicate and not so overrun with all of the morning glory. It just was not, it was not the look I was going for. And right here you can see I've got to push up my drip irrigation. I had put drip into my window box a few years ago, and I pulled that down when I put my bulbs in, and then said to myself that I was going to come back with some landscape staples and secure it back in, and I didn't, and now it blew out. So oh yeah, okay, so here's something exciting. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already saw this and heard me talking about it. We bought a beautiful, it does need a little TLC, cast iron sink, and we are in the process of probably going to build a little kind of potting bench frame for it and put it in the greenhouse. That's something I'll update you guys on as we move along. We've got it. It was a great price. It was $150 on Facebook Marketplace, which if you look up these antique cast iron sinks, they can get really, really pricey, especially if you buy them new. One of the things I found in the greenhouse this year, especially because I had more plants this year in there over winter, is that I was doing a lot of running back and forth with a watering can because I had the hose turned off for the most part. I would turn it on when we had some milder days and, you know, use it when I could, but for the most part, so the pipes didn't burst, I had it turned off in the basement, and it was just really a back and forth with the watering can, and I did not enjoy that. So I will, you know, we'll look into getting some frost-proof pipes, hose, whatever. You know, it's still in the very early stages, but when I saw this, we grabbed it, and I'm so happy that we did. Espalier apple is still rather dormant. This is Espalier Kiefer pear that I started in a video last year, and it's got just foliage popping out all over the place. This is a giant collection of plants that I did not plant, and you don't need to look at that, but we'll be planting those up soon. I've got garlic popping up. I need to fill my raised beds with some more. I use the Espoma raised bed mix to top these raised beds off. When I initially filled the beds, I filled them with, you know, leaves. I leave my leaves, so that's, you know, the brown matter. It's almost like composting, quick composting, you know. I don't have a compost pile, so I threw in healthy branches, trimmings, leaf clippings, all on the bottom to say, you know, to really bulk that up. But every year your soil will recede and kind of drop down. So I will be topping that off with the Espoma raised bed mix. Maybe this year I will start to try and get a little bit of a compost going, but I don't really have a lot of space. Maybe a tumbler, I don't know, but I love the land and sea compost from Espoma. I love the raised bed mix, so I'll try and get some of that in to fill in where it's needed. These beds I did top off when I planted the bulbs, so they look good. I'm thinking about moving the raised beds, but I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. See how this is very shady? Well, when this maple tree fills in, it's going to get even more shady. That's what happens in the garden. This is a giant maple that my neighbor has, and she had a crown reduction on it. You can see where some massive branches were removed. Well, that was a few years ago, and now it's really starting to fill in again. So it's creating, not right now, this is just the way it's, obviously the shade is from the house. And before, it was really receiving a lot of good sunlight in the afternoon. And now that that tree is filling in again, it's starting to really shade this area. I'm keeping an eye on it. But aside from lighting, I'm thinking that it would be really beautiful to have the vegetable garden, the raised beds, in between the greenhouse and the shed. It just seems like that would be the natural place to have that in between those two structures. So I'm putting that on the back burner. I'm thinking about it. Right now I'm in like sink mode, trying to think of what to do with the sink. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. On here, I've got, this is a Zephyrin Druin Rose. And you can see it is ready. It knows that the spring is coming. And this is a Guernsey Cream Clematis. That I've had here a couple years now. The stump is still here. I did have a company come out, and we are going to have the stump ground out. I was not feeling good the other day when they were supposed to come, and I called up. I said, would you mind coming out another day? So they're going to come out another day. I've got a few little crocuses. The squirrels had a field day. I planted tons of crocus in the lawn, and you can see the little bits of yellow popping up and some purple. Not as many as I had hoped, and you can even see where there's some holes here. These squirrels came through and just had a field day. They did. The squirrels definitely do like crocus, which I knew when I was planting them. So what I think I might do next year is plant some little mini daffodils. I think I'm going to try and do some of the little tete or minnow daffodils in the lawn, because they tend to not bother them as much. I don't know. We'll give it a try, because I have daffodils all over and the squirrels just don't touch them. They're definitely more deer resistant, bunny resistant, resistant and proof, two different terms, because if something's hungry enough, they'll eat anything. But I've definitely noticed in the many years I've been growing daffodils, I don't see anything caring about them. So they're definitely one of my favorites to grow in the garden. I'm playing around here with these won't stay here like this, the little fire pit and everything. But I moved the teak table over to this corner. This is where I initially had my patio table years ago, and I think it would be great to have the umbrella there, and have it be there by the light with a little lamp post. That's where I had it before. So we'll see. I'm still kind of playing around with the layout. I've got the 3 new crepe myrtles here along the fence, so I'm really looking forward to seeing those this year. And one happy little patch of daffodils popping up there. I've got all kinds of bulbs in here, lots of daffodils. I've got some tulips that have come back and naturalized, which is always nice to see. I have a lot to move in this area. I've got a butterfly bush here and a caryopteris, and they don't make any sense now that I've put the crepe myrtle there. So a lot to redo, a lot to fill in these beds. I've got some hydrangeas in here, and some millennium allium, I think. But I really need to bulk things up here. Put some more evergreens in, some little dwarf evergreens I think would be great. Maybe some more boxwoods. But I can really see the vegetable garden being in this area and kind of reconfiguring and reimagining that whole space and kind of connecting the two structures. I think it makes a lot of sense, and that might be something I'm interested in doing. A lot I want to change in this area too. You know, we took the picket fence down. So just kind of in the process of assessing what's staying, what do I want to change. A couple little random shrubs there that don't make any sense. I typically had my dinner plate dahlias all in a big row here, but this year I'd really like to make things look a lot more natural and just kind of have, like, you know, a hydrangea and, you know, some salvia, and then a couple dahlias, you know, just like little pockets of things instead of just like a row. I feel like I always end up doing rows of things, and I don't really like that. I want things to look a little bit more wild, which is kind of what I'm doing here. Maybe define some paths to lead up to the greenhouse. We'll have to see how everything goes. I did recently get some white clover seed, so I will be filling in and overseeding once the temperatures warm up a bit with some clover seed. My lawn is predominantly clover and weeds, a little bit of grass in there. That all started on its own naturally, and I just let it spread over the years on its own. I love the clover. I love the way it looks, and I love that you know, the bunnies chomp on it. I've said this every year now, and they really tend to stick more towards the clover in the lawn than some of my plants, which is great. Now, like I said, they'll eat anything if they're hungry enough. So but giving them some options and having some stuff for the pollinators and all the little critters here makes me happy. But that's about it right now. I don't have anything new to report. Hopefully by the next video, I will have that stump out. And that's it. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little update. It's super cold. My hand is now frozen to my phone. And I will see you in the next video, you guys. Bye-bye. Oh, quickly before I go, I'm back again. I always do that because something else catches my eye. My hellebores are looking beautiful. They are all starting to pop here. I love hellebores. Do you guys like hellebores? I think that they are so beautiful. I planted a bunch more this year. You can see some new ones there. A couple new ones back here. I just love them. And I love even like how their heads nod down and you have to come over and really get up and close and personal with them and touch them. I am a plant toucher. So pretty. All right, you guys. I will see you next time.